Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is David Murphy, host of the National Black Unity News, along with my co-host, Brother Satawi Jahi, Mr. Andre Hector.
How you
And,
doing?
it's always a pleasure being here, there and everywhere, really, at my age. But, again, it's truly a blessing to be on these airways tonight. And it's a blessing to share information with you, for you, about you, and you can even participate with us. Just call in, or you can come in on your computer. Let your friends and family know, because it's open discussion. We keep it real. With that being said, I'm gonna turn the mic over to Mr. Satawi Jahi.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the National Black Community News Podcast. And as we do each and every week, when we open this show up, we open up with a reading from Daily Motivation for African American Success by Mr. Dennis Kimbrough, who's also the author of Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. A chance to meet Mr. Kimbrough on several occasions, and he has a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge. A reading for today, February the 3rd. There's a reason for everything. Quote, I am now on the road to success, happiness, and abundance. All traffic goes my way. Unquote. Johnny Coleman, pastor, Christ Universal Truth Center. Do you ever wonder what you are doing here? Have you ever pondered if you have a purpose to live in? Do you believe in destiny? And if there's a plan for your life, where did it come from? You have a purpose here, and it is a good one. Your sojourn has not been cast upon by some outside agent who dispassionately chose your fate. You choose your mission in life and will live it. Gwendolyn Brooks, the widely read educator and poet, wrote words that would give anyone pause. Quote, I believe the purpose of life is to give us a greater realization of spiritual consciousness, something broader and more meaningful than materialism. None of us knows what lies ahead. The important thing is to use today as widely as possible and face tomorrow eagerly and carefully, knowing that we will be equal to the task, unquote. The goal of life is to find your life's purpose and thus light a path for future generations that will guide men and women toward the treasures that really matter. Peace of mind, health and energy, loving relationships, financial independence, sense of personal fulfillment, worthy goals and ideals. We cannot help but notice two parallel themes that border all of life. The first is that you can achieve as much success as you desire, providing you are willing to combine your natural, God-given talents with newly acquired knowledge and are determined to pay the price for success. The second is that there will be no success without a purpose. Today I will be pleased with what I have accomplished today and be mindful of my goals. That is our reading for today here on February the 3rd. Hope everybody's doing.
If you're looking for a reliable, professional, and affordable travel agent, well, you've come to the right place. We're proud to be the top local travel agency, and we've committed to creating satisfied customers and ensuring that your trip is a smooth one. Whether you need airfare, hotel reservations, transportation, or excursion planning, we can do it all. Call or email one of our friendly staff now to start planning your next vacation.
Doing fine, everybody's doing great, and we're excited about being able to share this podcast with y'all. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to our other co-host, Mr. Andre Hector. Andre, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mrs. Satawi Jahi. And hello, David Murphy. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well, and yourself, sir?
I'm doing good. Black History Month. What a month. It's good to be back. Welcome, everybody. We're broadcasting live, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. That's what we're doing. My name is Andrew Hector. I'm from the Andrew Hector Show, and we have a guest tonight. This gentleman here, second time coming in onto the show. Last time on the show, about maybe 2 weeks ago, this gentleman, we was talking about the topic of conflict resolution. And we decided that we wanted to do it again. We wanted to do a part 2 of conflict resolution because we realized that it's going to take more than just one episode to get the issue across. So I want to quickly introduce our person for tonight. This young man is an entrepreneur. He's also the CEO and the founder of Engage Baltimore. He has he's providing conflict resolution-based services, pretty much that strengthens the family to enhance the communities, and not only that, but to enhance the quality of our life. Before devoting his focus to Engage Baltimore, this gentleman has served in various capacities within the area of conflict resolution, dispute resolution, all types of resolution. And he's here to give his word to Baltimore, across the nation, even tonight here on this podcast. And again, we're dealing with different topics, but one of the things that we're going to focus on tonight is focusing on the black man in the community, dealing with especially fathers. I think we need to focus on that tonight, dealing with fathers and how to be responsible in that area. Mr. Brandon Booth is, again, the founder of the CEO of Engage Baltimore, and I would like to introduce to you him right now tonight. He's on the air. Hello, Brandon Booth.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Hector? How you doing,
well,
fellas? It's good to be here.
It's good to have you, Brandon Booth. I mean, last week or the other week, we definitely hammered it, we chopped it up, and we talked about some various issues, some serious issues that is affecting our community, and we're looking for solutions. And people are listening live all over Facebook and Instagram. So it's good to have you on again. I'm glad that you're here, and we need to get right to it. I know you have a limited time, and I just thank you for coming aboard. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about some of the issues that are at hand. I mean, one of the issues that, again, that we're dealing with is the intense killing, the homicide rate. I think last year we spoke about that. We went into about 300 plus killings, which made it a record high. We're now number 1 in the nation. What is your take on that? And as you view it as it is, what is your take on that? And then can we come up with some solutions? And who could be responsible for this?
That's a very loaded question, but I'm glad I'm here to get into it, and I have you brothers to bounce this off with me, man. So let's get into it. For me, I would say that it's tragic, and what's happening in our city right now is nothing short of, if I can use this word, an abomination. You have young men, young women being extinguished, lives being snuffed out way, way too soon. And I think that is an abomination, and it's a tragedy because you have a lot of fathers and mothers that are burying their children. And as we know, that should never be.
That's right.
I think that in terms of where we are as a city right now, honestly, I would say that trauma is one of the number one issues that I'll just say black men and black men in our community are facing. A lot of us have experienced traumatic things from our childhood, as we were adolescents, as we became young men, and even as now as we are full adults, that we don't really get the opportunity to get healing from, to express that how that trauma affects us, and also how that trauma affects the people around us. And so what happens is you have hurt people that are now hurting people because their mental health is not in order, and also they may be in an unstable situation. And so when you have a congruence of factors like failing mental health, like an inadequacy to fully heal from certain traumatic experiences that happen from your childhood on up to your adulthood, and then you compound that with not being able to have access to jobs or living wages that would help feed a family, all those things kind of combine to a cauldron and a boiling pot, and that boiling pot right now is definitely Baltimore City.
That's true. That's definitely correct. There's a breaking point. There comes a point where you just had enough. And everybody is listening out there. We can agree that we have come to a point where enough is enough. We're dealing with on senseless crime across Baltimore. I had a cousin who just passed away a few weeks ago. He was killed.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Derek Strickland was the brother to man, I forgot his name. My mind is all over the place right now. His brother was shot over in East Baltimore by what's the area called? I think it was Walbrook Junction. He was running out the alley, and a report said that he got shot in the head. His brother, Derek, was getting gas, and as he was getting gas and finishing up, he came out the gas station. He noticed that there was a body on the ground. He recognized the clothes. He went over there to identify it was his brother. And now that we're dealing with that situation to this day, a mother who lost their son, I believe he was 24, 25 years old, lost to a senseless violence.
Right.
Who knows what was going on that night, and man, I'm still messed up about it. I mean, I know this young man, my young brother grew up with him, and this is something that we're dealing with, everybody, so
right.
Mr. David Murphy, what is your take about this situation?
There's a thing. Because causes and effects, and sometimes there's like there used to be an old TV show called The Neck of City, and there was 1 million stories in the city. They used to say in the opening of that television show, and it proves true today that there are 1,000 reasons why people have conflicts about this or about that. There's also a lot of reasons why the conditions people live in to make it more accessible to pull triggers or knives and whatever have you, because people, like my brother just said, hurting people hurts people. And because of the conditions of the country's conditions of Baltimore City, and especially in the black community, people are hurting each other because people are truly hurting. And one of the reasons is because, from my perspective, it is not just the resources that's not coming into the community. it's not always just the educational system because we're not being taught proper education, or it's not always opportunities because people say, you know, if you give people person opportunity. But, you know, and how can you teach somebody if they don't know themselves, you know? And so when you get there, like I say, it's a lot of question marks. But sometimes, you know, before we come to the end and say solution oriented, sometimes we have to go all the way back down to the root, the real root of the problem. And there's a saying in the Bible: people perish. It's either lack of wisdom or lack of knowledge, or they just say, right. Yeah, because people perish because so if you don't know who you are and whose you are, then you're starting off on the wrong foot in the first place. Because if you're not grounded, rooted in God, if you don't know who you are, what your capabilities are, if you feel as though you're hopeless or helpless, then you end up doing hopeless and helpless things that will get you in all types of situations. And so that's why, you know, you know, I see it's a lot of black men on the call right now, you know, and you know, the last time I think we were talking about being responsible, and we are our brother's keepers, and so, and those who may have some knowledge or some wisdom, you know, we can't sit back. We have to reach out. We have to share. Each one teach one, and we have to do it in love and respect, because, like I said, you never know. Any given day, I could be that person, just had a bad day, just a bad day, and someone would approach me at a certain way. They may approach me in a threatening manner, and they having a bad day as well. And we just have to bump into each other. Even one of us could pull the trigger on each other, just because of that. We both could be just easy going as possible, because, like I say, because things weigh heavy on us. That's why I say sometimes, gentlemen, we have to go back to the root. Because even now, because wisdom has said, even though I know I have a bad day, it's just a situation, and I choose to say it's a bad day. You know, because any day, as far as I'm concerned, is a good day. Because it's a new day, it's a new opportunity. Every hour, you know, we can change, we can have choices. But, gentlemen, I'm just opening it up to this. You know, like I say, getting to the root of the thing. We all know, most of us know, there's 1,000 ways that we have problems in our community. And we bombarded with the other media sources telling us who's getting killed. And we can also say now, like I just heard on the news yesterday, the president is cutting food stamps, he's cutting resources, he's cutting all of these different things. And what do you think people are going to do when they're hungry? What do you think with people, you know, they're already struggling out here. So what kind of conditions will they make? And not only just humans, but you take animals, anybody. You put a person, when there's lack of, and you put a feeding frenzy on something, there's going to be some problems, serious problems. But again, you know, that's part of the Band-Aid effect. But again, I think that just what we're doing on this airways right now, at least the first thing is having a conversation about it, and it's communicating to one another. And my suggestion is this: getting to the root of the problem, we have to go all the way back to basics, and we have to teach our young ones, our elders, and myself, and everybody, that we are unique. We are wonderful, man. You know, no one like us. No one in this entire world. Never before, never after. So we are extremely precious. But until you recognize that who you are, because a lot of us have low self-esteem, no self-esteem, no hope, no help, you know, and so we have to convey that to our brothers and sisters out there, not only in words, but in deeds as well. We just can't talk about, you know, what should be done, this, that. You can't go into a neighborhood and they don't have proper housing and they don't have adequate food or shelter, and you talking about this is what we should do, you know, things like that. They don't want to hear that, you know. We have to provide resources to people. And everybody, like I said, if you're struggling, but everybody, like I say, God bless each and every one of them with gifts and talents. And if we use those talents in one form or another, you know, it'll make a way not only for ourselves, but for our brothers. And so I'm going to open up the line, brothers. You know, like I say, there's 101 ways that, you know, that we can, you know, identify problems, but there's a multitude of ways that we can also provide solutions, you know. and a lot of different areas. So I just want to, go a little round table on this thing, and everybody, jump in, just be respectful of each other. Is that what do you think? I mean, your heart of hearts, some suggestions that can help our brothers and sisters, because we're in crisis mode, and you never know who will hear this. And your suggestions, your idea, may be just the key to turn them around.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Brandon. Brandon, you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Go ahead.
One of the things I found very valuable, not just in my life, but also when I do different workshops, management and emotional management, time to reflect and meditate. To be with some fancy meditation stones and you going and taking some pilgrimage. It can just be taking 5 or 10 minutes out your day to get in a quiet place and to clear your mind of the negative thoughts, the negative energy will pick up over the course, to get your spirit right, to prepare yourself for whatever you're going to be dealing with in that day, whether it's a meeting, whether it's just being a father and dealing with your family, whether it's going on your job or even in the community. Taking the time to, what I like to call it, the Bible says, have Selah moments or Selah moments.
Right.
And in those moments, it gives you an opportunity to recalibrate your mind, because not to get too scientific about it, but a lot of times people end up doing damage to other people because they're thinking with the back lobe of their brain. And in the back lobe of our brain is where we store our animalistic nature, where our survival instinct is.
Right.
And a lot of us, like I said, we are conditioned to deal with and handle trauma in certain ways. And because we've never got the opportunity to fully process some things that have happened to us as men, what happens is we go through a situation, something small. Let's say you had a bad day at work, and then you come home,
right,
and your daughter or your son is not behaving right. And instead of us handling that in a healthy way, we lash out and we go off on them, or we go off on our relationship partners. And it's not because we want to go off on them. It's because we're conditioned to do that based off of how our brain has trained itself over the course of the years. And so what we have to do from a scientific standpoint is shift our frame of thinking from the back lobe of our brain, which is where a lot of our natural instincts and our reactions are, to reprocessing, reflecting, meditating for a few minutes, and shifting our thinking to the front portion of our brain. Because the frontal lobe is where logic is stored. The frontal lobe is where sound decisions are stored. The frontal lobe is where we can take time to reflect and process and think out our actions before we just react. And unfortunately, I have 2 people that I know personally that are doing 25 plus years simply because they were great brothers and they're good brothers, but in that moment of that clutch moment to figure out what they were going to do in that moment, they did not respond. They reacted. And when we react as men, especially as black men, a lot of times we end up dealing with the consequences of that.
That's true. There comes a point where, and I like what you said, and I totally agree with you. And we're dealing with issues. We're dealing with trauma in past time, childhood stuff that was very apparent, and it started right there. And these issues were not dealt with properly, just like you said. And now it becomes a problem not only for the individual, but the individual harness these issues and takes what he knows with life. Like I said before, there's this thing called theta. And pretty much theta is the visual presentation of which the child is seeing things and he's learning. And at that point, it's very crucial between when the child is first born up until 7 years old. And now this is what the child has learned because this is his environment. and the child's first environment is his home or wherever he's at. So now we're dealing with a person who has clearly become a victim of his environment, and now he's taking these issues and he's taking out into communities and allowing other people to see this. So now it's a matter of how can we communicate to this individual. I was experiencing a conversation a week ago. I believe the council people of Baltimore is actually, I don't know if they have done it already, but they want to sit down and actually talk with the young people. Has anybody heard about that yet?
Yeah, about the trauma conflict. Yeah, they just passed
Correct.
a bill.
Correct.
You know,
Right.
that would assist in that, because they finally recognizing that that's part of the root of a lot of issues that a lot of us have been through trauma, and it's like you say, it's never
Right.
been truly dealt with. You know,
It never been dealt with. And there comes a time, even the Bible says. Now check this out. God said it himself at his word. He said, Israel, I have beat you on every side. Man, I try to do things to try to shift you, and I have put men of God, women of God in your path. And every time I try to deliver you, you put yourself back in a predicament. There comes a point where you need to, let's sit down and reason. We need to sit. When was the last time we actually sat people down and get their thoughts? Why? What's going on with you? When was the last time you sat down with your children? And I'm talking to the parents that are listening to me. When was the last time you actually sat down with your child and asked them what's going on? How was your day? When was the last time you sat down and had dinner with your child? Nowadays, people, when they have dinner, one is sitting downstairs, one's upstairs on the cell phone, one's playing the game or whatever.
Right.
What time is it now, guys? It's almost 8 o'clock. Do you know where your children are at? I mean, this is it. We see what's going on in the news. We see what's going on out in the community. But have we actually sat down with our children? Let's get back to basics. And one of the things is, and I know that this is going to be an issue, but again, this is a show where we keep it real, right? We keep it real.
Right.
When was the last time you actually prayed? When was the last time you had God in your equation? You had everything else. You had your agenda. You got the babysitter to watch your children while you go out there running, doing it up. But when was the last time you actually sat down with your child and got back to the basics? The basics. I was talking to a young lady last week. I had a chance to get inside her head a little bit. I told her I came up in a generation where, you know, it was the end of that generation, but, you know, in the 80s, where neighborhoods looked out for the children. When they see you do something wrong, they'll check you quick, and then they'll tell your parents. And I told her about that. You know what she said? And she's in her 20s. It must be the millennials. I don't know what it is. She said, you better not approach my kid about his behavior. And I was like, wow. So there's no accountability because it all starts with the parent. A stranger can't check your child and make him accountable. You better not say nothing to him. And then you see a behavior pattern of children out here where it all starts with the focus of the family not making their children accountable, so they're out here doing whatever they want to do. I see it every day.
Yep.
Well, Andre, let me say this on that note. You know, like I tell people often, there are three sets of laws. There's God laws, there's natural laws, and there's man laws. And as you say, when we was coming up, yeah, we got checked on a whole lot of areas. You know, the teachers checked us, our neighbors checked us, you know, and sometimes we would check each other. You know, when we see somebody doing wrong, you know, some of your buddies say, no, man, that ain't right. We ain't going to do that, man. No, you know, just, you know, they'll stop a fight, you know, jump in, and, you know, let's squash this. But, you know,
Right.
see, because man laws, because of through people who have abused children, they have, you know, that's always through out there. But then they set laws down. When your children call the police on you now. If you even abuse them, they would take you off your job. Now they put this in the law. They would come and take you off just for the accusation of you saying you did something. A child could be angry with you, say you abused them or sexually touched them, and they would physically, no questions asked, come get you. And you done lost your job, you lost your self-respect, you lost everything. Now you become another angry black person, just because of an accusation, and then you got to try to prove yourself out of this. But at the same time, man, like I say, people put it in, like you say, one time, like I say, now, because from generation to generation, it starts getting steeper and steeper, that now it's a threat. Because any time somebody says something to your threat, that means that your child is being threatened. The neighbors can't say, you threatening my child, so I'm going to go into defensive mode. I'll kill you when you mess with my child. And they go straight into, like you say, they don't think about it. They just go straight into the action. That's why so many people are being killed. And but getting into a solution now. I saw this program. I'm constantly sometimes since we in this technology age, information is accessible now. You can go to places like a YouTube, and you can put in any kind of information saying if you're having a problem with a mental thing, or if you're having a problem with this or that, or your self-esteem, you can just type it in, and all types of people will come up with all types of solutions. And some of them solutions are, can probably help you. But like one time, I had an issue with what you call procrastination, because I have a lot on my plate, and I'll sit here all day long and think about all the things I have to do. Before you know it, the day is gone. Thinking about things I have to do, but then this lady came on there and said she had a 5-second rule. A 5-second rule. And she said, if you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just go and do what you think you're supposed to do, just jump up and do it. I know it sounds crazy, but guess what? It actually works. If you don't get out of bed, like if you hit the snooze button when you say it's time to get up to go to work, and you say, oh, man, I don't feel like it, I'm tired, I had a rough day, I just need 10 more minutes, and just like that. Just try to take 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just jump up and watch what happens. And that, little things like that, because it gives your mind, it's about changing your mindset. And not only, like I say, not only just getting up, but it also with conflict resolution as well. Because before you act or react, take a time to think. Like my brother Boop just mentioned, he said, sometimes, just breathing properly. If you just breathe in a few times properly, meditate, don't have to be no 10, 15, 20-minute thing sometimes. You can just take a couple of deep breaths to calm yourself and give your subconscious mind or your conscious mind a chance to react, to act or reason. Because if you act, like I said, if you just respond naturally sometimes, like I said, you go right into fight or flight mode sometimes, and sometimes we just need to take time to think, But see, these are some of the things that, like my brother do, and I commend you, Mr. Boop, because you're dealing with an area, man, that is so much needed in our communities, man. I'm glad you're taking up the banner and running with it, because see, it's people like you who see a problem and you have a solution to it. See, when you say conflict resolution, that's a powerful thing, especially in our young people, in elementary school.
It definitely is.
Yeah, because children, man, can be cruel. And I remember how cruel children can be. I mean, they don't hold back,
I was definitely looking at that situation, which you were saying before. It's one of those things where I'm at my job, and we try to check people and try to let them be accountable for actions being performed on MTA property. And like I told you before, I checked this young man. He was smoking on a platform, and I let him know, hey, look, you're not allowed to smoke on a platform. He asked me straight up, are you the police? I shouldn't have to be the police. You should be responsible enough to know that this is not the right thing to do. I mean, I remember a time where I was afraid to do certain things in front of certain people. It becomes a point where they're not afraid of authority. And I need you guys to really hammer this situation. I need you guys to talk about this.
Well, let me say this,
man, you gotta be responsible.
Mr. Murphy, I'm gonna just tell you, I'm gonna let him speak. I know you want to say something, but again, you know, you got to look at the time, and like I say, it's extremely dangerous if you're not properly prepared to talk to some of these young people, because you got a lot of angry young people out there, and if you push them the wrong way, they will hurt you. They will hurt you.
They will hurt you.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in, gentlemen? This is Dempsey Murphy speaking. Listen, I hear all what you guys are. I can hear what you guys are saying, and it is so true. And it goes all the way back to some primal stuff, just like Brother Henri was saying. You know, it's deep. I must admit, it is extremely deep. And one of the most horrible things about it is that most of them are operating out of fear. And when I say that, you know, there is a whole lot of different things that they fear where they live at, they fear for their grades, they fear for food, and it's a lot of stuff going on, gentlemen, and a lot of that fear can be quelled by access and information.
Access and information.
Access and information, mostly by the parents.
By the parents.
Yep.
That's what I want to throw in, gentlemen. Let's work with that for a minute.
Mr. Murphy, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
I love what you said. I love it. You know what? My mind went right back to what Jesus did before he actually taught a lesson. He actually dealt with the issue at hand. Everybody, remember when he crossed over the sea and he had a lot of followers with at the time with Jesus and his disciples, and they were hungry, and he took the little boy's lunch and he fed the multitude. After he fed the multitude, after he met their needs, then he started to preach to them and teach them. It goes back to basic principles now. We have to sit down, like Mr. Murphy said. There are issues, right? What he said, and it's true. We got to find out exactly what's going on in the young people's mind. Like Mr. Murphy said, they're dealing with poverty, hunger. They're dealing with issues, afraid. And when you're afraid, it causes a standstill, right? And it causes you not to move forward because you're not. Yeah.
Fight or flight, exactly. Fight or flight.
We got to sit down and reason with the young people. It comes a point in time where we can talk about, oh, they're no good, they're this and that and the other. But there comes a point we got to sit down with the young people and actually talk about what's going on. After we minister to the needs of the individual, then there's a healing restoration. We can work on their needs. We can work on them and talk to them. I think too many people are doing too much scolding. They're scolding them. They're doing too much scolding, too much of this and that and the other. There comes a point where and I'm going back to it, you got to sit down and talk to them. Find out what's going on in their mind.
Mr. Booth, this is your subject matter. When you're dealing with young people, how do you get them to first sit down to listen to you to even start a conflict resolution? How do you approach them in that?
I'm glad you asked. So I'm gonna share a story with you all. So last time I was on, I mentioned that Engage Baltimore originally started off as a youth mentoring program. We started at Stewart Hill Academy, which was an elementary middle school, and it was one of the lowest performing schools in the city. Myself, a brother named Nathan Pop Thomas, and a brother named Curtis Johnson, and a brother named Darian Eaton quickly formed the organization, and we met with the principal, and I connected with a woman, an outstanding woman named Nicole Mosby Taylor, who had a mentoring program for females. And so I brought mine in for young men. And it was 6th through 8th graders. We had about 20 of them. And the principal gave us their most at-risk youth. The term at-risk usually is a youth that they believe is in the school to prison pipeline, who they believe is at risk for potentially going from school directly to prison because of a number of factors that I'm not going to get into for the time length of the story. We had a young man who was in our class. He actually was a white young man. He was in 7th grade. I'm not going to give his name out just because I'm not going to do that. I don't know who's listening. But
understood.
But he would come to class and come to our mentoring session, and for about a month and a half, all he did was come and put his head down on the desk. All of the other students were participating. All of the other students was engaged. Now, these were some of the middle school students that really had, they had it rough at certain points. You know, they had seen a lot. They were more mature than their age. I'll put it like that. But it was this one young man that always sticks out to me. He came for about a month and a half and didn't speak to anybody. We tried to engage him. We tried to do different incentives to get him to open up, but he would come and he would just put his head down on his desk for the whole session. But instead of scolding him and saying, oh, well, we're going to go to the principal and say, you don't need to be in here, what we did, my brother Nathan Thomas, he noticed one day that the young man had a talent for drawing. And one day he was sitting there, we didn't think he was listening, but he drew a beautiful, beautiful portrait of Miss Taylor. And what Nathan did was he got him a artist type of easel pad where he could draw out his sketches during our sessions, and that was his way of engaging him. Do you know after he got the young man the easel sketch, the sketchboard, he started opening up about what was happening in his life around both of his parents being addicted to drugs, around him living with his uncle, but his uncle is addicted to drugs, about him not having any food in the house 3 or 4 days out the week, about him having all of these different things that's happening to him at his house. So he has all of these factors that are happening to him at home: lack of parental structure, drug abuse, no guidance, and we expect him to come to school and actually be engaged. He's just happy to get out the house.
Exactly.
So a simple thing, something like getting that child an easel sketch pad, allowed him to open up about everything that was going on in his life. And what really kind of still hits me to this day is that this was midway through his 7th grade year. He had been in that school since 6th grade and hadn't talked to anybody. No teachers, no principals, no administrators had been able to get through to him. And it took us 2 months to realize, you know what? He can draw. This is the way to engage him. So I would say sometimes you have to be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove. You have to observe. You have to be willing to listen when a child wants you to listen. You have to be willing to not belittle them for their thoughts and their points of view, because we don't know what's happening in their lives. We don't know what type of parents they had. We don't know whether they ate a meal that morning or whether they ate the night before. So I would say the most important thing is just being open, observant, and when that time comes when you can have that little entrance into their lives, don't take it for granted, because that could be the thing that changes that person's life.
Like that.
All right.
Like,
Mr. Murphy, you say something?
It's hard to piggyback on that, because that is so true, man. Most of it is communications. And, like they say, it's not, all about what you do and how much you know. All they want to know is how much you care. And so, and it's an amazing thing when you have so many people that are living, in this concept called hotel by the week, or, or under the bridge. And if you know what I'm talking about, these kids are living that life at 6, 7, 9, 12, 13, 15 years old. And they don't have any other means of support of what they already have. And so what I'm saying with you guys is that you are right. A lot of it is about not what they don't have in their lives. And so it's a horror story, and I appreciate what you're doing, brother. It's just a horror story.
And that brings me to this kind of, not conclusion, but it brings, to mind, because, I have I have quite a few grandchildren. And I know some things about them. They don't live in a perfect household or anything like that. And because I love them, and I care about, and I do know the stuff that some of the things that they have to face in this world. I know about the type of music that they listen to, that they're being bombarded with. It's about me, myself, and I. I got this, I got the bling, I'm getting mine, you get yours. And that stuff is penetrating them. And then it's a social status. Because if they don't have a certain type of Jordans in school and this, that, they tease and pick upon, And then if they're not in structured programs, they pretty much left on their own. It's not like the way when I was coming up. And so one of the major factors that if you can't, like I said, if you don't really have the time or if you don't have this, but one thing that is universal that will always be here is love. You got to truly, man, you got to dig deep, man, and because these children are our children. You just can't say they're yours and they our children. Like you said, we was talking about this in the last time. It's about us being responsible. When we walk past these corners and see our brothers, when we go to places like Pennsylvania North and feel like people walking like zombies, yeah, we can sit back and shake our heads, man, and say, darn, this is rough. But then how many people will come up to them and just the way they'll hug them, man, look at man. I know it's rough out here, man, but I just want you to know I care. And just going about the business sometimes. Sometimes, those little things, those little signs, man, actually can save people's lives. I mean, love. I mean, not just faking it. Because, people, they can see a phony way off,
They can see a phony. Well said.
And so sometimes we have to train ourselves, man. And if we truly care about our children, if we truly care about our communities as black men and black women, and if we're truly going to be responsible, it starts first. We have to learn to love ourselves, forgive ourselves, and then we have to go out there and spread that love around because God is our higher being. That's our glass ceiling. And the first thing the first thing is God is love, man. And we have to demonstrate that type of love, that type of forgiveness, let go. You ain't got to be a stepping stone either, but I'm just saying you can have tough love too, but at certain times. Yeah. But we just have to love.
What, guys?
Excuse me, Satawi has been dealing with a lot of troubled kids over a long period of time. I would love to hear what he has to say about how he interacts with some of those kids.
I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Oh, there you go.
I'm still here. Yeah, okay. Appreciate y'all getting me involved in the conversation. And part of what we did was we always showed love. We always found a way to, as the brother Brandon was saying, find a way to connect with a child in terms of where they was at. I'll give you an example. We had a young man.
That's
one
interesting.
Time. We had a young man one time who we was dealing with, and and Richard would stay by himself, and he always seemed to distance himself from the group. But then we found what he was good at. He was good at putting together 500 and 1,500 piece puzzles. And you could give him a puzzle, and in a half an hour he'd have it put together.
Yep.
That was his gift. And from that, by showing him love and having him connected with love, and we always made sure that we did our unity circle. One of the first things we always had everybody say what was they thankful for, and so that triggered with inside themselves an appreciation for a higher power, God, or even though the children a lot of times they wouldn't verbalize it in terms of saying God, but the whole thing is having them connect with a force outside of themselves. Well, ultimately, Richard, he grown up, he wanted to become a merchant. He grew up wanting to become a merchant marine. So the thing is, you have to find a child where they at best. What is it that they can connect with? And I got another child one time. He would cut school. He wouldn't come to school, and he would ride his bicycle all day long. But he was good at repairing bikes, and that's what he had a gift for. So we had to learn how to focus in on what his gifts and talents were, and then let him know that, hey, there's nothing wrong with you being able to repair bikes and do what you do with bikes. But he was in the ninth grade at Douglas High School, and he couldn't read or write. And so the teachers was like, why he don't come to school? I said, why should he come to school? I said, y'all in here, y'all communicating and reading and writing, and I said, he don't even know. I said, he don't even know how to be able to relate to what it is that y'all going through and dealing with. And so, we had to find a way to connect with him to help him reach inside. And once he was able to reach inside, hey, he found some things that could trigger some things inside of him that helped him see a better way of dealing with his reality and dealing with, his life. And
wow.
It's the same we had.
Well said.
I never
well
forget
said.
we had children who were
Definitely
sniffers.
well said.
Yeah, we had children who were sniffers, and when I say sniffers, what I mean, because I used to ask them, I said, wait a minute, why you buy a can of paint thinner, get cotton balls, and then sniff and inhale that? And they told me, it was economics. I said, Mr. Jahi, because I told them, I said, hey, I said, I was growing up, I said, man, we chip in, we get a bottle of wine, we drink that. And he said, yeah, but he said, bottle of wine, he said, it ain't gonna last but a short time. He said, I can get a can of paint thinner. He said, that lasts me about a month. And so it was, when we began to realize the economics of them getting high, and then we was able to address the issue of what is it you're trying to escape from.
There you go.
And, yes, sir.
Well said, brother.
Yeah,
I really appreciate what you just said. I really do. That you made a really valid point there. You said that you took time out to find and try to get to know this individual when you found out what he liked. And I think that's where it stands at, Mrs. Satawi. We got to sit down and take time out to find out where our children are at. And when I mean ours, I mean the community. Find out where they're at. When was the last time we actually been to one of these kids' schools, our kids' schools, and really took time out of our busy schedule to see what they're into? I was blessed to go to my daughter's school today, my little 10-year-old. Her name is Adriana. And she asked me, she said, Daddy, you going to come to my school today? And I could have found all the excuses in the world not to come because I didn't get no sleep last night. They stayed with me, and they kept me up. They pushed me out of my own bed and everything, man. But you know what? Yeah, they did. They tear up my bed when they come over here. They put a working on my feet.
You're a girl dad. Shout out to my man Kobe.
They put a working on my room, and I just be like, Lord, they snoring. I'm waking up 3, 4, 6 times in the night. They sleep. But she asked me, and I went to her school because she wanted me to come, and I wanted to know what she's doing. That meant a lot to her. And I when I went, I didn't see no other parents. Now, I go to their school quite a bit, and every time I go, I don't see a lot of parents there. But it keeps them involved. It keeps them like, yeah, my daddy's here, and it keeps them in check. I challenge everybody, when was the last time you've been to your kid's school to see what they were up to? When I was there, I noticed a young man, just like Satawi has said, a gentleman with his head on the table. He wasn't very attentive. And the teacher, not knocking the teacher, but he didn't really do much. But I looked at that and I said to myself, I thank God that I'm here with my daughter. Somebody's parent needs to be there. And you don't have to be a parent. You could be somebody who's an acting parent or somebody who took interest of a student. When was the last time you visited the children to see what they were up to get involved, to help them? And like Satawi has said, and I thank God that he said that, he took time out to see where this child was at. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you said it took him 2 months, if I'm not mistaken? Who said 2 months?
Well, let me say this for gentlemen. Let me say this because time is running out. Let me do this. Let me say this because I just got a revelation, and I'm gonna throw it out there. Like I say, we keep it real. This subject is really touching my heart, man. Because, like I said, our babies are suffering, they're hurting, and they're even actually getting murdered. They're getting killed out here for lack of understanding because nobody takes time to understand them. And like I say, they going through so much trauma. And here we got a brother on here who has dedicated his services for helping, with conflict resolutions and other, social skills that the young people have to go through. Now, I'm gonna make a suggestion. The National Black, this is what this show is all about, the National Black Unity News, and it's a solution-oriented periodical. And it's the power of the media is a powerful tool. It can reach masses. You never know who would read or pick this publication up. And Brother Booth, I'm going to throw this out at you, sir. When God blesses you with gifts and talents, you can't hide it under a bushel. I'm not saying you doing that, but I'm just saying. But sometimes you need.
I've been there though. I've been there though. Trust me, I understand.
Yeah, but I believe, like I say, my steps are ordered, just like yours and everybody else is on here. And I want to extend you an opportunity. I want you to call me because I would love for you to be an editor dealing with this same subject matter in the National Black Unity News. Because see, you can reach people nationwide. You can reach people nationwide. You get to educate people the importance of what you do. And actually, and I know, in my heart, I know that, when we work with you on this thing, is that, you've actually saved people's lives, man. You can create a better quality of life for our young people. And all people read it, And so you give it some serious thought because I believe you're the man for the job. And because I listened to you a couple of times, and like I say, this is serious time. We're gonna take serious people. This is warfare. This is not a drill. People are dying in the streets right now. Children are hurting and suffering. And here we have a tool right in our hands, right in our midst, that with information, people like yourself, sir, can come in there and share information in this publication and help save our babies, man.
Hey, check this out, David Murphy.
Yes, sir.
David Murphy, Brandon Booth, we talked earlier today, and I want him to tell you and the rest of our people exactly what he's planning on doing, because he's doing something big in Baltimore, and I want everybody to know that is listening on Facebook, Instagram Live. We have a real solution here, and David Murphy, you're definitely going to be proud with his presentation. Brandon, tell him exactly what we talked about earlier.
First off, before I say anything, I'm humble. I really am by the opportunity and by the sharing of knowledge, because iron sharpens iron. And so I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank you, man, because what you said just helped a lot of things into perspective for me. But getting into what Brother Henri said, so we've been blessed to have a venue for different, not just community events, but honestly, we have the flexibility to use that venue for a lot of different things. And so I've connected with one of my brothers who is definitely into the music scene within the city, and so we're going to offer a platform.
Give him his name.
His name is Darian Eaton, and we're going to offer a platform, collaborating with Darian, we're going to offer a platform to give artists, whether they're rap artists, young youth from the city that are spoken word artists, young people from the city that sing, we want to give you a platform to present your gifts. It's not one of those things where you have to be a Christian or you have to have this sort of faith. We really want to have a positive atmosphere where everybody can come and fellowship and see the talent that our city has. And so we've been given an opportunity to do events at the old Malibu Beach, I think it's called the Malibu Beach Bar, and now it's called the Bluefin. It's 8247 Eastern Avenue. It's about a block down from East Point Mall. And long story short, we also have an opportunity to use that venue for community events. And what I shared with Brother Henri is I'm almost hesitant to put it out because we still are forming it, but I'll go ahead and put it out. We want to do an event called Girl Dads. A good friend of mine.
Gotta speak it into existence, brother. Speak it. Now you you stuck to do it.
I know you always know that. But, I tell you, I give you a brief 2-minute summarization of the event, and then I'll pass the mic. So a good friend of mine named Rachel Dolcine, she has birthed this movement called the Mothers and Sons Summit, and so I've done a couple of workshops at her summit in the past, and now she's taking it a step further in collaboration with my wife. She's a social worker, Jessica Booth. They're now doing the Mothers and Sons Summit.
Jessica, where you at?
March. Stop it. The upcoming Mothers and Sons Summit is going to be focused on STEM programming for youth, but it's geared toward mothers and sons. And from that, I actually kind of got the idea for Girl Dads. I got the idea for Girl Dads. I don't know if everybody, at this point, everybody knows that Kobe Bryant passed away, and RIP to the Black Mamba. But in that, I don't know if everybody has seen the positivity that's been coming from Black fathers posting Girl Dad and the different photos of fathers with their daughters on social media. And so I want to take it a step further into an event called Girl Dads, where it's specifically around fathers and dealing with their daughters, and father and daughter collaboration type of brunch event where we have food, where we have resources for fathers and daughters, resources for young men that may be single fathers that have daughters, resources for fathers to help uplift them and encourage them. But then we also want to have speakers come in, like some of the brothers that are on the phone with me tonight, to really share and to really empower and encourage these fathers. And then we would like to do a group panel discussion with that. So similar to what we're doing right now, I would invite everybody on the phone to come out to this event and to participate in this event. You guys already know you're more than welcome to speak and to be on the panel. The other piece of it is that I wanted to give my brother Hector, because God is doing great things in his life, the platform and the vehicle, along with you all at the network, to be the almost the sole media outlet for this event. So we could do it live, whether it's streamed
definitely going to do it live for you.
You know, and whatever platforms you guys would like to use to really make this event successful, and to shine a platform not just on fathers that need help, but it's a lot of strong fathers out here that are really doing great work, man. And we really want to collaborate and just pour love into each other and hopefully be able to make more of a difference and more of an impact. So the event will be called Girl Dads, and it kind of derived from when Kobe passed away, seeing all the love that was poured out that he had for his daughter.
Much love to him and his family.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll pass the mic now. But that's the event.
Okay, gentlemen, because we are ready past the hour, so we're going to get close, shut this thing down, and we're just going to go around starting with Mr. Murphy. If you want to give out some information, who you are, what you do, and how they can contact you, sir.
Oh, yes, my name is Walter Eugene Dempsey Murphy, and I am the Managing Director for the National Black Unity News. You can contact me at Dempsey, that's DEMPSY 53863 at Gmail. Again, that is DEMPSY 53863 443@gmail.com. You can also call me. You guys can call me at 804-721-7515. Again, that is 804-721-7515. And in reference to your Girl Dad Day thing, sometime back, I sent a prominent individual by Walter Smith the third, no, he's the fourth, a picture of him dancing with his daughter, and his daughter was standing on his shoes, and they were dancing.
Oh, man.
Oh, yes.
That
yes,
is beautiful.
Yes.
And so I'm sharing with you that is one a powerful tool to utilize in any community. Go for it, gentlemen, and if I can be of any assistance, I'm here.
Okay.
Mr. Murphy, thank you.
Hey, Mr. Murphy, I got a question for you. Have you ever been mistaken for that voice you got, that Barry White voice? You know, hey, baby, it's your
that Billy E.
move.
Williams. That Billy E. Williams voice.
He got it. He definitely got it.
Okay, but look, we got another gentleman.
Yeah.
We got another gentleman online. Matter of fact, he would be perfect to work with you on this. His name is Vernon.
Oh, yeah.
Street.
Oh,
He's our
yeah.
event coordinator. Vernon, you want to share who you are and what you do? Can't hear you, Vernon. I see you.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, Vernon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I got you. Yes, sir.
Okay.
What's going on, sir?
All right. How you doing?
All right. How you
I'm
doing,
hearing
Mr.
a lot.
Awesome.
All right. I'm hearing a lot of great things, and I'm very excited about this podcast. My name is Vernon Streeter. I'm the National Events Coordinator for the National Black Unity News. And my phone number is 443-473-7912. And I will be honored to work with you guys on behalf of the National Black Unity newspaper.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank you, Vernon. We appreciate you, man.
And Brother Andre Hector, give out your information, sir.
All right, sir. My name is Andre Hector from the Andre Hector Show. You can reach me at www.henrihector.com. That's ONRIHECTOR. You can check all my information on my website. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can check me out there. Again, this is Andre Hector, and that's it. That's all I got to say.
All right, Brother Satawi.
Yes, sir. Okay. This is Satawi Jahi, and you can check me out at my tax website is www.thethaxhelper, HELPER.Weebly, WEEBLY.com. That'll tell you everything that I help people with when it comes to taxes. And my phone number is 252-458-3712. Great broadcast. Just looking forward, how do we keep this conversation and dialogue going, and just how we can be able to provide solutions that can help our people help themselves.
And also, okay, thank you, sir. And Brandon, last but not least, Brother Brandon Booth.
Hey, thank you. You can reach me by email. The email is engagebaltimore, the letters LLC @gmail.com. Once again, it's engagebaltimore, the letters LLC @gmail.com. Or you can contact me at 443-572-1224. And I'm hopeful to have the website going soon. Thank you for your time, fellas.
Oh, okay, yeah. My name is David Murphy, publisher of the National Black Unity News, and I can be reached at 443-455-2373. You can also visit our website. It's tnbun.com, and our National Black Business Director is tnbundirectory.com. And in closing, I want to thank all the gentlemen who was on this podcast, because they can say it was, needed dialogue, but at the same time, like I say, we can talk, but it's time to take action. And, I threw something out there. We have everything we need right here on this line right now. Brother Booth, to get your program off the ground and running. Like I said, we had the media outlet, We have event coordinators. You know, we can get the word out. We get more people to participate. And but like I say, with every journey, it takes the first step. And so we cast it out there to you. You need to give me a call tomorrow or day after tomorrow, and let's talk about this and how we can work with one another. Because, like I say, my steps are ordered, and it's time to take action. And because, like I say, not only the life you say, just may be your own. Because one of them children may walk up to you one day.
Yeah, I was about to say, big fact. And it may be my daughter, since she already is doing a thing at 10 years old, man. So, well said.
You know, and so, you know, we say it in the joke, but it's the truth, though. You know, because these same children can come back and harm you, to hurt you. And but like I said, we can get to them, man, and help change their quality of life, save their life, and give them something to live for. And like I say, you know, we hit on something really significant. If we can get down to the root and identify those gifts and talents, and God said your gifts and talents will make a way for you. And so, if them children can nurture those gifts, in the time they're adults, man, they will be so powerful and self-sufficient. And everybody has a measure of gifts and talents. So it's up to us as the adults to help them identify those gifts and talents and help them to nurture it until they're self-sufficient. And so, you know, so we have responsibilities, and God put people around us. You know, we don't have to go far. They come to you. You know, all you got to do is just keep on living, and God put all of these type of people right around you.
All going to come. That's right.
Let's get in, let's fit in, and let's be about it, gentlemen. With that being said, I'm going to say good night until next week. And matter of fact, if all of y'all can be on the call tomorrow night, I know it's election night and everything, but if you know, we still going to have a podcast tomorrow, and that's how we can get other people engaged, you know. So like I said, it's about communication. We have to let each and every know what we are doing so that we can participate. With that being said, gentlemen, I'm gonna say good night to you, and this is a recording, and it will be.
Hello, everyone. I'm Henri from the Henri Hector Show. I have a question for you. Are you searching for information? The kind of information that is powerful enough that is able to challenge you and make a change to enhance the quality of your life and the lives of others? Then I challenge you to listen to our podcast that is created to meet our people's needs. Come tune in to the National Black Unity News Podcast, where I'm your co-host, Henri Hector, sharing the very best alongside with our host and publisher of the National Black Unity News, Mr. David Murphy and Shatawi Jahi, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. For more information, please visit my website at www.henrihector.com or call 410-200-9347.